Hola, my name is Kyle Carr, also known as Profe Loco, and I make videos for teaching and learning Spanish. I have a video series for Spanish 1 through Voces Digital, and I also have a shorter video series through Spanish 2 in Voces Digital. And I also have a YouTube channel, and I make videos, and I try to make them compelling. Me gusta. And they have comprehensible input, and they're short, and they're all focused on just being exposed to content in Spanish to learn the language through comprehensible input. A big question that some teachers ask me is, how do I use your videos in my classroom? And that's a valid question. And I'll just tell you how I use my videos in my classroom, because yes, I am a Spanish teacher. I teach middle school Spanish in Idaho, and I teach Spanishes 1, 2, and 3. And so especially in Spanishes 1 and 2, I use my beginner videos, and I have some more intermediate videos on my YouTube channel that I use for my more advanced classes. But for example, my video series through Spanish 1 in Voces Digital, for example, what I like to do is I like to have some sort of pre-watching activity. And what I generally do is I'll watch the video, because sometimes I forget what words I used in each video. So I'll watch the video, and it's pretty short, so I'll watch it real quick, and then I'll write down words that I know my students don't know, or they don't have very well in their vocabulary. Because I know my students, and just like you'll know your students, which words that they'll need help with. So I'll pull out those words and I will write them down, make a small list of high frequency words that my students aren't gonna be super comfortable with, or maybe they won't even know at all. And I'll go into class and I'll write the words on the board and I'll just tell them what they mean. And after that, I'll start conversations with them. Let's say the word that my students don't have very well is tiene. So I'll just start having a conversation with my students on an individual basis. I'll be like, hola, George, ¿cómo estás? Bien, bien. ¿Tú tienes un gato? ¿Tú tienes un gato? Yo tengo un gato. Mi gato se llama Loki. Muy bien, George. Clase, George tiene un gato. And I'll just sit there and have a conversation with my students using the words that I know that they're not quite comfortable with from the video. After I do that for a little bit, and you can do it for as long as you want, maybe even the whole class, but after I do that for a little bit, I'll put on the video and just have them watch it. I don't pause it or do anything like that. I just let them watch the video and let them, enjoy that experience. After the video is over, my favorite thing that I do is I like to review details with my class by asking just a ton of questions. Just going from beginning to end and asking questions. I feel like asking questions is a really powerful way to get them exposed to the language. It's also a really good way to see if they really understood what was going on in the video. So I'll ask them a bunch of questions. From the start, I'll be like, sí, ¿qué hay en la clase? Referring to my Spanish 1 video, the first video of the video series, Chalupa. ¿Qué hay en la clase? And they'll start saying stuff like, hay un lápiz, correcto, ¿qué más hay? Hay una mesa, sí, hay una mesa, ¿qué más? Hay un monstruo. Hola, monstruo. Hola. Sí, hay un monstruo en la clase. ¿Y cómo se llama el monstruo? El monstruo se llama Chalupa. Yo me llamo Chalupa. Y Chalupa, ¿cómo es Chalupa? And I'll just sit there and I'll just start asking a bunch of questions. And maybe, if you can't, think of questions off the bat, write down a bunch of questions. Write down a bunch of questions that you think would be good to ask from beginning to end. But I find it fairly easy to just kind of run the video in my head from beginning to end and just think of a question. Just a bunch of questions and just ask a bunch of questions to individual students, to the whole class, or both. And I'll just do that. until we get to the end. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to have some sort of assessment, some sort of quiz to make them accountable. But I find it's not always necessary because the videos are pretty engaging. Yo soy feo. They'll want to pay attention, they'll want to understand. And so I don't find it absolutely necessary to have a quiz, but I do it sometimes, just to make sure, you know, they're being engaged and they feel accountable to the content. And so I'll give them a quick quiz, either fill in the blank or true or false, depending on, you know, the level. And then that's it. That's how I use my videos in my classroom. I don't do a variety of different activities with it and I've tried it, but I've found that kids really just like the video the best. And so if I'm doing too much stuff before and too much stuff after, it kind of becomes a drag to watch the videos. And so what I like to do is quick pre-teaching activity, watch the video, review with lots of questions, possibly a quiz. And that's what I like to do. And I use my videos maybe once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks, so that I'm not using them too much, so that they can really look forward to them. And that's how I do it. I hope that that's helpful for you, maybe gives you some ideas. If you haven't checked out my video series through Voces Digital, I encourage you and invite you to do so. It's just another tool to add to your tool belt when you're teaching Spanish in your classroom. And if you have the online curriculum through Voces Digital, you have access to my video series for Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. But if you don't, you can purchase them separately from Teachers Discovery on their website or through their catalog. And you can also check out the videos on my YouTube channel. I post a lot of story-based videos on my YouTube channel that really help with beginner and intermediate Spanish. Anyway, I hope you'll check those out, and I hope this video was helpful for you, and we'll see you later. Adios.